We've all been muted so far. Good start.
Hi,
Hello.
good start. Good
Good
start.
start. Let's try the formal introduction again, shall we? Here we go. Hello and welcome once again to the Longford Open. Tournament director Iain McDougall is standing right next to me, and I am Harry Messenger, your assistant TD, and you definitely can hear both of us now. Apologies for the short start, but we can see you all in the chat. Hello to everybody who's here, and yeah, here we are.
We are here.
We are.
We're ready. It's finally here. It's finally gotten here. I love it.
Yes, great. And first time doing one of these digitally, so yeah, let us know any feedback so we can do it better next time. But yeah, hopefully we won't be taking up your whole evening. We'll make it fairly short and snappy, but we'll run through all of the pertinent details, and we'll tell you what we're going to be doing, and we'll go through some Pdga rules, some etiquette, and of course we'll go through the course and describe any mandos and OB, because those are the main things people will need to know.
And answer any questions.
And of course answer your questions. So, before we start, we need to give a huge shout out to the tournament sponsors, of course. So thank you so much to Disc Golf UK for being the presenting sponsor for this show, for this tournament as well, and for providing us with launch discs, prizes for every division winner. We've got vouchers for you, payout vouchers as a percentage of each division. The vouchers aren't extremely high value money wise because, like you guys all know, this is a fundraiser tournament, and £10 out of your entry has gone to towards buying the baskets for our new course in Longford Park. But the rest of the money has gone on prizes pretty much. And thanks to Disc Golf UK for giving us a good rate, so we can bump that up a little bit. And there's also pretty special trophies for first place. Ian's going to show one off right now. Let me go back to the big screen so that you can see it a bit better. But you're going to want to win your division, guys. Check that out. So if you want to get your hands on one of them, you gotta win the FA4 division or whatever division you're entering. We've also got to give a bit of a shout out to Hull One. So thanks to Andy at Hull One for sponsoring our CTP and Most Improved. Iain, why don't you tell us a little bit about what those are?
CTP, again, it's just going to be on a red hole because, there are some holes on the course that do play red and blue. I think we're going to put it on hole 2, make it fair for everybody else. So there's going to be a goodie bag that Iain's going to put together for that. And your most improved score is going to be from either MA4, FA2, FA3, or FA4 as well. 2 separate ones, yes. One for MA4, another for either FA2, FA3, or FA4. And it's going to be the most improvement from your first round to the next round. So if you go out and you shoot a 60 in the first, and then you turn around and then, hey, you get a 45, well, you're probably going to be the most improved. So we got some goodie bags, and those are coming from Hole 1. Cheers, Andy.
And yes, so the reason why it's those divisions, anybody who feels like you're missing out, those divisions specifically is because they're the ones who are playing the same course twice. We've got a question in the chat from Tony asking, what is CTP? CTP stands for closest to the pin, and so whoever gets closest to the basket on their drive only will mark it with a stake or some device, and write their name down, and then whoever is closest by the end will win the goodie bag. So yeah, thanks to the sponsors. While we're getting thanks out of the way, we've got a big shout out to the Longford Scout Troop. The Scouts are kindly letting us use the toilets in the Scout Hut to save us having to order a portaloo. So there's a couple of things that go along with that. So please respect them and obviously the current COVID situation, and stick to our one allocated toilet. There was other people on site on the same day that will be using other places of the Scout Hut. So please use the allocated one. Don't go in the kitchen. I know previous tournaments we've had use of that kitchen. Please don't go in the kitchen this time. If you've got any used putters and mid-ranges, or new putters and mid-ranges if you're that kind of baller, and you want to donate one to the Scouts, they are having a great time coming out and playing the course. That's we see them there on our club night. They're having a great time playing, and we always want to give them more discs. So if you've got a couple, I've got a couple behind me that I'm going to be bringing along, and you should do. And also, they're going to be having a plant sale, so if you need any plants, then support them for supporting us and hook them up with a plant.
Yeah, they just put a post up, I think, on the Friends of Longford Park that's advertising that. I was going to share it, but I was just on my phone. So I will share that and put that in this players group, and probably on the Manchester Disc Golf page as well. So yeah, go and support the Scouts by, being thankful and buying some plants from them, and also donating some plants.
Yes, definitely. You need to do all of those. So, the first thing you guys are going to need to know when you arrive is about the location of where we are. So you may have to pull this up on your own Google Maps, but we've got a little mini map here. We've got some colours highlighted for important things. So we need you to park in the big car park. I believe it's on Rybank Road. This is the one that's in green. So it's down at the south of the park. For the locals who normally play it, it's not the normal car park we park in. That is, for your reference, highlighted on the map in yellow, in orange at the top. We want you to park in the green car park, so there's room for everybody, and so that people who need to access the tournament, for example me, bringing heavy equipment, or people who need sort of disabled access, or people who need to drop things off, can use the smaller car park. So go park on the Rybank Road car park. If you do need to come up this way, up the main road to the course, it's important to know for anyone who hasn't been here for a while that road is now one way and it's closed at the end. So where there's a big orange circle marked on the map, you can't drive through there anymore. It just won't be possible. For anyone new to the tournament, the T of hole 1 is the thing highlighted in red, where it says Longford Park, and you can see the golf course area there. That's where we'll be playing this tournament. It's important to note that the course isn't fully closed for this event. We have permission to use it for our use for this course, for the tournament, but there may well be people trying to play the course at the same time as us. If so, please be polite and courteous. You're representing us and the club while you're doing so. Please explain to them that the course is very busy and that there's a tournament on and that there will be people waiting on every single tee. If they then choose to play anyway and you can't dissuade them, don't be rude to them. Let them do their thing. They'll probably get bored and leave when they have to wait on all the tees. So be polite and be courteous. If spectators are coming, the same to them. Let them stay behind your group. Ask them to keep 10 meters distance. Or if they want to stand in a specific place, find a place where there is no hole intersecting that. So a good place would be the OB around the tee of blue 12, or the tabled area in the kind of the middle of the park, the picnic tables where the kids like to party. That's another good spot. What else needs to... Oh, the scout hut itself is highlighted in blue where the toilets are, so they're right by the course. So you'll be able to pop over there if you need to go before your round. Anything else location-wise I've missed, Iain?
Well, I would say there is another toilet available, but you'll be sharing that, and that's at the cafe. But I think that doesn't open until about 9 o'clock. But just in case, maybe there's a long queue for the one in the Scout Hut, you can maybe go long queue at the one for the cafe as well.
Sure. And if you've got a little bit of extra time and you want to pop down and support a local business, Caffeine & Co. Cafe are just down one road from the course, and their coffee is fairly good. So if you've got extra time, then go support them.
And bring me coffee as well, because I'll be starting it all day.
We've got Alan suggesting in chat some info that we might need to know. If you are trying to use your sat-nav to navigate to the course, the postcode was in the information sent out to you for the car park. But if you Google Longford Stadium, that will be the car park you need to park in. So either Google Longford Stadium and go there, or use the sat-nav that was in the email that Iain sent.
Tony's just asked there, What time does the Scout Hut open? I think he said 9. So if you do have an early tee time, you might miss out. So maybe try and take care of yourself before you come to the course. Or I believe it's 9. I'll have to double check that. Um, but we'll probably see what time they start selling their plants. I can probably find that out right now.
I think that was
Let me
10,
see if I can.
but I think
Is it 10?
I think the scout hole will be open at 9. I think that was what they said, but we'll double check that one for you, Tony. But thanks for the question, and yeah, keep the questions coming, guys. We will answer more of them at the end as well. Let me just check my notes so that I can confirm we're not missing anything that I have to do before I go move on from here. Oh yes, COVID/coronavirus stuff. So firstly, thank you to you all for understanding what's still going on in the country. We've still got restrictions in place. We're still not allowed to gather you all in one place at one time. And more than that, we want everybody to be safe and have a good experience. So the main things we're asking is that you use the sink that we're providing and the hand sanitizer if you want to do so. We would like you, if you are hanging around at the tournament HQ, we prefer people don't hang around at the tournament HQ if possible. Go find somewhere sort of more COVID secure to wait around. If you do want to, please bring a mask and wear that around the container to avoid large gatherings. And please come to your tea time no more than 10 minutes before you start. Feel free to come to the park before that, but just go find another part of the park to warm up or to practice or to throw some shots or to putt. Obviously you won't be able to play the course itself because there'll be other groups already out there, but feel free to go. There's an adjoining field that's really good for warming up by the small car park that you'll be able to warm up on, and then come to your tee about 10 minutes before the start, 8 minutes before the start, and you must be there 2 minutes before the start. Once you get there, we're going to say meet your card, be courteous to the other people on your card, try to keep 2 meter distance from them if you can, get to know them, work out who's who, work out who's going to be scoring. We're going to ask for 2 people per card to score. We want 1 person to do Pdga live scoring. That's the most important thing. If you only got 1 person who can score, do that one. And then we want the other person to do UDisc as a backup. We will have a couple of paper scorecards available, so if anyone is opposed to technology and wants to do it the old school way, we can facilitate that. The password for Pdga Live is Longford Open, all one word, all lowercase. Is that correct?
Yes, Longford Open, all lowercase, no space. But I think it's what PDGA /score.
Yes, pdga.com/score to do that, and then pdga.com/live for the updates. Question in the chat asking, is Pdga per hole or per shot? It's per hole. You just write down everybody's score that they got on that hole at the end. You don't need to mark OBs on the Pdga live scoring, but if anybody gets a penalty shot for anything else, you need to write that on the notes section. So if somebody gets a penalty shot for a foot fault, or for playing the hole wrong, or for being late and not showing up, please make a note of why they've got a penalty, because there's no way to tell us that otherwise. So that's scoring. Anything else on scoring, Iain?
No. You can exit out of the live scoring, and then somebody else can join in. Normally, when we're doing paper scorecard rounds, say that 10 times fast, you would pass it around. Everybody would do maybe 4 holes, and then you change. Don't have to do that this time, but you can if you exit out of it, and then somebody else can log into it. So I think it's just easier for one person to score it the entire time. But if you are one of those, again, people that like to do everything by the rules, then you can exit out, and then somebody else can log into it. But I would just say have one person do it.
Yeah, and for those of us who have the most recent version of UDisc, you can do that on UDisc as well now. So the other thing to do with scoring is bag tags. Of course, as this is a club tournament, we want people to have their bag tags in, so please bring them. The way that's going to work is you're going to hand your bag tag in before you tee off at the start of the red round, so the first round, the morning round. You're going to hand them in. Bag tags are only going to be in for the morning round, and then once you return from your second round, you will get your new bag tag back. So you won't need to leave without your bag tag.
Yeah, it took us a while to kind of figure out something good to do with the bag tags, and I think this is the best solution.
Yeah, it should work perfectly fine. And we'll have cards available to fill out details of bag tags on the tee. I believe the starter will do that for you, so you're just going to need to tell the person who's starting you off, which will probably be Iain, your name, what tag you've currently got, and that's it.
And put it in a box and bring it. Don't forget it.
Yes, please bring them. You can't have your tag in if you don't bring your tag. So yes, let's move on to some PDGA rules information. The next thing. So this is just a highlight. All PDGA rules will be in play. So make sure you know the rules. There's a reference to the rules on the UDisc app with a search function. So if you have a query and you don't know the answer, open up UDisc, open the rules page, and search for what's wrong. If you can't find it, then if it's something like you don't know how to finish a hole, play a provisional shot. So say I'm throwing a provisional now and play the hole out both ways. We've tried to put somebody at least a little bit experienced on most cards, not every card though. So somebody should know, somebody should have played a tournament before, fingers crossed. These are some of the more important rules that you must play. You must keep balance behind your lie and show balance inside 10 meters when putting. So there's a 10-meter circle which will be marked in some way. It's hopefully going to be grass paint, but if it's so rainy tomorrow or today we can't paint properly, it will be a string. If you're within 10 meters of the basket, you must not go forward of your lie after you've putted. And also, you at all times, not just inside 10 meters, you must have a point of contact behind your lie when you release your disc. This includes being on the tee, this includes when you're step putting, if you're trying to putt from outside of the circle, and this includes, obviously, when you're in the circle. You must have one point of contact at least behind your lie. And if you want to use the same disc again, or you want to move your lie forward as allowed in the rules, you must use a mini marker. These are the smaller discs that you can mark your lie with. You cannot use another large disc from your bag to put in front of your disc. It must be a mini. And as I said, check the UDisc app for any rules. We had a question if the 2 meter rule is in play. The 2 meter rule is not in play. So if you're in a tree, it doesn't matter how high you are up in a tree, you will use your mini to mark directly underneath your lie before you take the disc out of the tree, and then you will then you can move your disc if you can get it down, and then you can play from that lie that you marked before you took it down. If you lose your disc and you can't find it, as soon as you've had a cursory look and you can't identify it's there, someone on the card will start a timer for 3 minutes. And then you have 3 minutes for everyone on your card to team up and look for the disc. If you can't find the disc within 3 minutes, you must play it as a lost disc as per the Pdga rules, which means go back to where your last shot was and take an extra shot penalty.
I mean, usually in reality, the timer doesn't start right away. You end up looking for a few minutes, and then somebody kind of says, like, we got to put on a timer because you can't find it. So really, again, in actuality, it ends up being about maybe 4 or 5 minutes actually looking for a lost disc before you'll get penalized.
And also in reality, there's not very many places in Longford Park where a group of 4 people looking for a disc for 3 minutes aren't going to find it. So there's only a couple of places. And obviously this doesn't apply if your disc is definitely already OB as well. So so does that. So speaking of OB, out of bounds is what we call OB. At Longford Park, OB is on quite a lot of the holes, and we're going to go through each hole by turn that has any OB at all, and we'll show you where it is. There's also mandos, which are mandatory lines that you must throw the right side of. They'll be marked with a mando sign on the tree and spray paint on the floor. If you miss a mando, there is almost always a drop zone or a re-tee. The drop zones will be sprayed on the floor with white paint. you get a penalty shot for missing the Mando, and then you move to the drop zone for your next shot. We'll go through those again when we go through every hole. If you go out of bounds, you may take 1 meter relief from the out of bounds. You can measure that by using 3 steps. Putting your foot end to end with itself, so measuring 3 feet from the out of bounds line, and then mark with your mini where you want to play from. If you don't know if you've done it right, check with your card and they will confirm for you.
And be sure to ask the person with the biggest feet to mark your line.
Yes, apologies. The terminology should have been correct side, not right side. You do not have to go right. You can go away from the OB line. And when you're throwing next to OB, you may not have any part of your body in the OB when you're throwing. So you can't like straddle over a fence to put your other foot in the OB. You must be inbounds when you throw. The other thing I wanted to mention, this probably at Longford only comes into play on hole 6 and hole 13. But if you go OB, when you establish your lie, before you put your lie down, you can go back in line with the basket. So this is combining 2 different rules, and beginners often don't know this. You can take relief backward from your lie, in line with the basket, an unlimited distance, at the cost of 1 penalty shot. But when you've gone OB, you've already taken that penalty shot, so you can do it for free after going OB only. If that's confusing, you probably won't need to use it at any point, but there's a couple of times on hole 6 and hole 13 where that's beneficial, and somebody wanted me to mention that rule to you guys. So sorry if I didn't explain that well. If you see me in person at the course, I'm happy to explain that to you between now and then. Question from the chat: what about bushes at the edge of the park? Do you get relief from the edge of the hedge or the edge of the park? So, Iain, do you want to explain that one?
Well, there's a fence. It's mostly chain link most around of the way, but there are like hedges in there. Sometimes the hedge is away from the fence. So again, if we were saying, oh, you only get 1 meter off of the fence, which is actually the OB marker, then sometimes the bush is so large that you like your meter, you're still kind of stuck in the bush. So I would say take 1 meter from the hedge.
Yeah. So in most tournaments, that would be the meter would be from the fence. In our specific tournaments, we let you take 1 meter from the hedge, and that's fine.
Just so you have enough room. And again, some of them are kind of nasty and they hurt you. So just like be careful.
At some other courses, you may find people say things like 2 meters from barbed wire. There is no barbed wire at Longford Park, so you don't need to worry about that. So, any more Pdga rules? So Tony wants to know if you get relief from touching the OB fences. Yes, you get relief from the OB no matter whether you've gone OB or not. So you always get...
Sorry, go ahead.
You always get 1 meter from the OB fence. Not 1 meter from where you end up, but 1 meter from the OB fence at all times, even if you're not OB, and you don't get a penalty if you aren't in the OB.
Yeah, there was a picture that just came up. It was of an eagle, and a little sliver of it was inbounds. And somebody says, is this inbounds or is it out of bounds? And everybody, well, it's inbounds. So still, right there, most of the disc is in the OB, but you have a little tiny piece of it touching inbounds. You would still get 1 meter relief off of the OB bounds.
Yeah. So the only other time you'll be able to take relief is if you're in standing water. We don't think there is any standing water on the course, but we've got quite a lot of rain. Scheduled, so there may be puddles of water. If your disc is in a big deep puddle and you don't want to go all the way into the puddle and get your feet wet, you can take free relief back out of the puddle, as long as it's a significant body of water. That's fine. Okay, so Cara wants us to explain foot faults, so we can do that very quickly. Let me switch to the screen sharing tab. I've got a nice thing queued up for that. Screen share. So, let me zoom in a little bit. So this is when you're teeing. your legal stance, you must have a point of contact only on the tee surface. So on the right-hand picture here that you can see on your screen, this is a foot fault because he's standing off the tee at the point he releases the disc. This one here in the left is legal because his foot is in the air when he lets go. Your lie is established like this. You must put your foot somewhere in that little blue piece of paper size behind the disc for your foot to be in the correct playing area when you throw. This is when you release only. If you are doing a step putt, for example, and you release after you take off from the ground, you wouldn't have your foot in that area, and that would be a foot fault. If you see a foot fault, you might like to give them a verbal warning, in which case you might say to the person, hey, I think you had a foot fault there, please be careful in the future. That's optional, of course. If you'd like to call somebody with a foot fault, you would need somebody to second that as well. So you would say, that's a foot fault, did anyone else see that? And if somebody else saw that, then the person will be given a one-shot penalty and their throw will still count. So you don't re-throw or anything, you just get one extra shot on your throw and you play on like that. Is there any other? So these are examples of legal stances. So you have to have some of your foot in that area. It does not have to be all of it. But if you are taking your foot off the ground, you need to have 1 point on the ground at any time. If you take your whole foot off, that's when the violation becomes accurate.
Also, if you kick your mini or your disc while you're throwing, that is technically a foot fault as well.
Yeah. Again, you would need to have somebody watching and somebody seconding. So a good time to call a foot fault would be if you've seen somebody do it once, you've had a little word with them, and then they do it again. Then you could say, did anyone see that? If nobody saw that, then you could ask your card to all watch next time they were throwing, for example. Remember that disc golf is self-officiated. There's not going to be a referee out there calling foot faults on you. So it's down to you not to foot fault. And if you do foot fault, then the honourable thing would be to call yourself on it. I've personally never seen anyone do that. But remember, it's a fun, friendly game that we're all playing together, and it's you versus the course. So if you're cheating, you're only cheating yourself, really. Honestly, the prizes from Longford Open, well, they're fantastic. Probably not worth damaging your reputation over. So I don't think anyone's going to be cheating on purpose here.
Oh, might want to. Do you have anything about falling putts as well?
Yeah, let's see if it's in this article or not. On the putting green. No.
Well, I guess we could just talk about it here because, like, if your disc is within the 10-meter circle, you have to show control until your disc comes to rest, either in the basket or on the ground. So sometimes I do see a lot of players just kind of throw their putt in the circle and then start walking towards the basket before it's even in. That is technically a foot fault as well.
Yeah, so you must maintain balance on your lie until the disc has come to rest. And that's what you need to be careful for.
One top tip that I have always told people is to do that. Again, take your shot. The first thing you do, reach down and grab your mini or your disc that you just thrown your mark on. So that again, it's showing balance, and it's easy enough. Sometimes, though, it can be a bad idea. Like if you go out of bounds, there is the option, if you do go out of bounds, to retake the shot from your previous lie. So say you're right next to the basket, it hits off, somehow rolls OB, which is going to be a farther putt. You can retake your shot with a penalty stroke from your original lie. Hole 12 at Quarry Park comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't happen too much at Longford because almost all of the OB has boundary fences, so it shouldn't be too bad. Couple more questions. Nick Colwell says he doesn't have a mini marker. Nick, someone will lend you one. Just find somebody else on the course. Somebody on your card might have a spare. If you find me, I've got a few spares.
I've got some. I can give you one.
Ian's got some. The club's probably got some. Somebody wanted a link to the article I was reading. Put that in the chat for you all. There was another question about which group gets priority if there is 2 fairways crossing. The answer to that is that the group on the highest card would have priority, but it's not really ever an issue at Manchester.
No, there's no crossing really. I mean, maybe coming from 12 to 13, you might run into somebody on hole 4. They might be teeing off, so you might just have to wait. There's not really anywhere that kind of crosses where play is going to be stopped because of that, unless maybe somebody gets a bit squirrely off of the tee of red 6, and you end up in the fairway of hole 12.
Yeah, and sometimes you see the same on hole 2 and hole 3. If it's a very bad drive on hole 3, it can go onto hole 2's fairway.
It'll be who's on the higher hole. The higher number hole gets priority. So
So as a rule, you have the higher hole will play first because you're going to end up waiting for them.
So you're on hole 6. You throw in 12's fairway. They're teeing off on 12. Wait on the side, let them tee off, and then go play after they've finished teeing.
There's a couple of questions about how to tell whether something's within 10 meters. Does the disc have to be fully within the line, or can it just touch the line to be within 10 meters? Your lie is the front of your mini when you've marked it. The back of your mini when you've marked it, where the back of your mini is. If that's inside the circle, then you can't pass your line. Connor wants to know if your disc is just inside 10 meters, but you can place your foot outside the 10-meter circle, but still within your 30-20 centimeter rectangle. Are you in or out of the circle? If you can put your foot out of the circle, you're out of the circle.
So if you come up to your disc and it is like a little bit inside the circle, but the back edge is outside, you're establishing your lie. Like imagine that piece of paper behind it. If you are fully out of the circle there, but a little bit of your disc is in, it means you're outside. Now, if you went and marked that disc, then you would be inside the circle. So sometimes not marking your disc is going to be a good idea, because then again you can go forward from your lie if you are right there. That's a great picture right there. Like your disc is right on the line, but if you marked it, then you would be inside the circle. But right now, this would be considered a circle 2 putt.
Correct.
But if you marked it, it would be a circle 1 putt.
Correct. Okay, I think that's it for the rules for now. If anyone's got any more rules questions, put them in the chat and we will cover them when we get to it. Let's talk now about some etiquette. So the main point of this is the bottom one: respect the public and the course. While the course is going to be sort of kind of a bit shut, and we're going to be trying to get people to avoid the course, there will still be members of the public around. You may see dog walkers walk through the fairways. You may see other people playing disc golf. If you do, please respect them. Please let them get out of the way before you throw. Number 1 rule of disc golf is never throw at another player. Make sure you be super careful about not hitting anybody with a disc. There's going to be a lot of us out there. We want things to go smoothly, so respect the public. In terms of respecting the course, that means don't snap branches, don't chew up stuff, don't try not to grind your feet into the ground for no reason, to mess up the turf or anything. Just treat it like you would your own back garden.
Don't litter.
And don't litter. That's very important. The other things here on the etiquette list. Obviously, please don't drink alcohol during your round. That is actually or use recreational drugs. Those are Pdga rules. You can get a shot penalty or be disqualified from the tournament for doing those. So please don't do that. If you wish to smoke or vape, please make sure your card are okay with it. And if they're not okay with it, please don't do it. You don't want to throw anyone else off their game for the sake of having a cigarette. So have one before the round somewhere else where there's no one there, and return and play with your card. And if they don't want you to smoke or vape. If there are people on your card who are in the process of throwing, taking their shot, they're in a bush or whatever, don't walk further down the fairway than them. Stay behind them and make sure that they are completed their throw before you move past them. You can be given a courtesy violation for this if you keep doing it and you're putting someone off by walking past them. A courtesy violation, you get a warning, and then if you did it again and you got a second courtesy violation, then you would get a penalty. Another thing you can get a courtesy violation for is being super angry on the course. If you get really angry and you kick your bag over, somebody might be put off by you. It might not be a good look for you, and somebody may give you a courtesy violation for that. So try and just be calm, and please don't throw a second shot, launch your disc across the fairway if you get angry, because you will get a penalty for that as an extra throw. Connor wanted to know about loose branches, twigs. Can you clarify what can and cannot be moved or pushed aside, please? So you can't, if there are things in your lie that are dead and unattached on the floor, so let's say there's a stick behind where you're throwing, your foot would be in the way of the stick and it's not attached to a tree, you can move that wherever you like, that's fine. It doesn't matter how big the stick is, if it's dead and unattached you can move it. If you're in a tree or in a bush and there are things in your way, you can't just shove them aside and damage them. You have to do whatever you can to leave the things exactly where they are. So you can't jump behind a stick and push the rest of the tree out of the way to get your body there, unless there's zero other way you can get to your lie. You should approach it from the back if you can. Do you want to clarify a bit more on that, Iain?
Yeah, I would just say kind of just try and wiggle in and try and kind of leave things exactly where they are. But like Harry said, coming through the back, but you can't push things out of the way so you can get a shot at it. Also, you can't move. Something might be dead and kind of hanging. You'll see a lot of that kind of in some of the bushes. You cannot remove it just because it's dead. It has to be dead and unattached, so pretty much basically on the ground. Again, you can move anything behind your lie, and like on your lie, you're going to mark it. Anything that is on your lie, you can't touch really anything in front of your lie.
Correct. Okay, I think it's time to move on to looking at some of the OBs on the course. So we'll do that. If there's any more questions, put them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end.
There's a question about drinking after. You can drink after.
Sure.
You can have a beer after if you want.
So we're going to go through a few of the holes with Mandos and OB, and we'll try and get through them as quick as we can. I'm going to have to mute them because some of them have got me talking. So this is hole 1. From the blue tee only, you'll see there's a double Mando immediately off the tree. You must throw between these two trees, and that does not include the V gap. You can't throw through the V in the right-hand tree, you just have to throw between them. If you miss the Mando, so you go to the left or the right of either of the trees, you then will need to play your second shot, so it will be your third throw with a one-shot penalty from between the two trees. That's the drop zone for that hole. Iain?
I painted a line yesterday, so there's a line going from one tree to the other. If it fades, I'll paint it again on the day. But yeah, again, miss Mando, you're shooting 3 from the trees.
The only other OB on hole 1 is over that hedge to the left. You can see in the top left of your picture, onto the path on that side. That will be out of the course boundary, so that would be out of bounds. There's no Mando on the red tee. You can see, this is a view from the basket of hole 1. You can see the OB is behind that hedge on the left. And also that gate over there, if you trickle out through that gate, you go 25 metres long on hole 1 somehow, then you would be OB over there. Hole 2. These white staked areas on the course that you can see on your screen right now, anywhere where you can see these pens with white stakes, those are OB on all holes that you could possibly get into. So say you were on hole 3 and you somehow ended in this white pen on hole 2, you would still be out of bounds. These are out of bounds areas on every hole. And hole 2 is a shared tee for both red and blue.
Yeah, sometimes these fences are nice and they'll kick you out. Other times you just go right through it. So don't throw OB.
On hole 5 from the blue tee, there's this path to the left over the hedge outside the course boundaries. That would be out of bounds. That is again in play by the basket of hole 5 if you can make your way all the way up to there. As you can see, the path out here is very busy and out of bounds. Hole 5 from the red tees, again, there shouldn't be much OB here. The OB is past that hedge that you can see at the back of the camera. Over that fence would be OB, but apart from that, you've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that hedge and fence kind of scoop you up unless you're coming in really high and hot. But if you're low, it'll stop you.
Hole 6 again is exactly the same. There's a OB pen on the right with those white stakes. That is definitely in play from both tees, but mostly in from the red tee. This far one on the right of your screen right now, where the tee of hole 12 is, that is out of bounds. And again, you've got out of bounds on the left past the course boundary. And if you get all the way to the basket, somehow you go 10, 15 meters long, maybe even more than that. There's another OB pen at the back of the basket, but I've never seen anybody get a disc in there, so.
Not on 6.
Not on 6, no. Hole 7 is one of the ones that's out of order in my...
If we skip 3 and 4.
3 and 4, there's no real OB in play, so that's why we skip them. This is hole 7.
The players meeting for the tournament.
You can hear me talking. So there's this OB pen on the left, and then there's this newly, freshly dug wildflower area, which is also going to play out of bounds. So if your disc ends up in there, please take it back to where you went in and mark it. On hole 7, there's a ditch down towards the basket that comes out of this wildflower area. The ditch itself is not out of bounds. Hopefully it will have been sprayed where the out of bounds starts on that ditch. Then we need to go all the way back to hole 8. Play. So this is hole 8. You can see this out of bounds on the right, that same pen that you've seen on some of the other holes, and that's the only out of bounds on hole 8. Better view of it there. The only out of bounds is this bit on the right over here. It goes all the way down the fairway. Hole 9 from the blue tee. Well, from both tees, but it's very hard to do anything about it from the red tee. There's a mandatory tree that you must go left of. It's this left-hand one here. It's marked with a sign that says Mando. You must go left of this tree. You can't go down 18's fairway. Hopefully I took a picture from the red tee. We'll see. No, unfortunately not. So you can also reach that Mando tree from the red tee, but you'd have to kind of shank it very hard because it's very close. This is the view to the basket of hole 9. You can see where someone's putting down here. This fence and this hedge over here, over onto this path here, is also out of bounds. This is quite a busy path, so if your disc is launching itself onto that path, you might want to shout 4 or something if there's pedestrians there. But if you slide under this fence, if you roll around here, this is out of bounds and you need to play it from where you went out. Okay, so that's the front 9. Do we have any questions?
The drop zone for hole 9 is the red tee.
Somebody else wants to know, can you cross the fairway a bit further on 9, onto 18? Once you've made the Mando, you can go onto 18's fairway through the gap. Make sure it's clear before you throw, obviously. Try not to hit anybody putting on 18, but yeah, if you need to throw through 18 after you've gone past the Mando tree, that's fine. The wildflower area, I said out of bounds. Straight line between the white top posts or paint lines in between. There's a fence on every white top post. It's the fence line that's OB.
It'll be one fence post to the next fence post.
Yeah, there's a metal fence. It won't be sprayed. We would need way too much spray paint to spray them all.
So if you're determining it, use the posts because the fence will be wavy.
Yes, good point. Yes, the straight line between the posts is the full answer, but the fence is pretty good, and you can pretty much use that most of the time. But if it's really close, use the line between the two posts. Just to confirm that the tee pad itself on blue 12 is OB, yes. Hopefully the gates of the pens will be sprayed. So you should have an OB line for the gates. Question, discs landing on the wrong fairway. Unless it's specifically out of bounds, you can play it from where it is. Obviously don't get hit by the group who are there. If you're on a higher hole, they should let you play, but they may want to finish their hole if they are not aware of the rules. So just be safe and play it when you can. Okay, that is the front 9. Let's move on. So, hole 10. So this hedge on the right off the blue tee is out of bounds. So if you throw over the hedge to the right, you can get a bad kick off a tree and go over there. That's out of bounds. There is no drop zone or anything. You just play it from where you went out.
Or you have the option to re-tee.
Or, of course, at any point you can re-tee instead of playing it from where you went out. From the red tee, again, you could throw over that hedge if you tried really, really hard. If you get past the trees on this hole, then there is this OB pen that sneaks into play on the left-hand side. Again, you shouldn't go in there. It's quite hard to get over there, but you can if you really, really try. And
if you really want to.
There's also this hedge that's long of the hole on hole 10. I have thrown over that hedge if I've got a shot very wrong, so be careful of that OB as well. Hole 11 is one of the ones where we have to skip forward. So hole 11 is this one with this gap here. You can throw either, there's no Mando on this hole, you can throw where you like, but there's an OB pen on the left and an OB pen on the right. So don't do what Andy did there in that video and kick into the OB on the right because you'll be out of bounds. That's hole 11. And then hole 12. You have this OB area on the left immediately off the tee where you can see Daniel fetching his OB drive from. Once you've gone past this area on the left straight off the tee, there is no more OB on hole 12. So it won't be in play really for the red tee. Hole 13, there's going to be a Mando on hole 13. Those of you who normally play the course, we play this post down here as a Mando. In the tournament, we're going to have a large orange banner flag out marking the Mando. The Mando that's on this sign is not in play. It's a different Mando that will be staked out. It's not in this photo, but it's very close to the original sign. On this hole, please send a spotter down the fairway to watch the shots from close to the Mando, because it's quite hard to tell if you've missed it or made it from back here. If on this hole you miss the Mando, there is a drop zone which is sprayed on the ground, and it's this view from here. So you'll see this little tree to the left, and you play into the basket from there. So if you miss the Mando, you must go to the drop zone. There's been a few questions about this hole, people not quite knowing where the Mando is. If you go out to the course tomorrow, you'll see white sprayed circles, several of them down by the tree. The Mando will be on the leftmost one of those white sprayed circles. If you go down to the course on the day of the tournament, of course, the big flag will be up, so you'll know where the Mando is.
It'll be the leftmost flag.
Yes,
the Mando.
Yes, so there's going to be multiple flags out there, and it's the leftmost one, which is the one you have to play to the left of.
We're putting a bunch out there to kind of stop discs from going into that gap because it's getting opened up, and we're trying to build it up and protect it. Hence the Mando. But yeah, it'll be the leftmost feather flag on the day.
Yeah, for those of you who've played the course before, the hole will play very much like it does now. The Mando isn't further enough back to make any difference to the hole, really. As much as people in my group chat said that that's not true, but they're wrong.
I mean, we've moved it to make it more visible, but again, we might say just have a person walk up and make sure that everybody's shot makes the Mando.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you talk about the drop zone?
Yes, I said that the drop zone will be sprayed on the floor, and it's this view here.
Yeah, nice. I figured that yesterday.
Yeah. So, hole 14 from the blue tee, you could technically go OB right over the hedge. You tee off from next to OB. it's very hard to do. If you throw your drive as bad as Brandon does in this video, then you may get a ricochet over there, but you'll have to just throw it straight down there, and there's no any other OB. Apologies for any language that you might have accidentally heard just then. Hole 15. There's an OB pen that you quite easily could land in. The OB to the right is really not in play, but if you could get into that OB pen over there, you would be out of bounds.
But yeah, if you grip lock it and yank it over the fence and the hedge to the right, it is OB.
Yes, that would be OB. Anytime you go out of the course boundary, you are OB. When I say it's not really in play, I mean it's very unlikely that you would find it, not that it isn't OB. On this hole here, there will also be another Mando. I don't think I got a good picture of where it is, but it's just to the left of where the camera is pointing now. This Mando is to protect against people throwing down the tunnel shot that goes straight at the basket of hole 14, the path you will have walked up to come from 14 to 15. My lefty friends, apologies, I know you like throwing down there, but you can't at this tournament.
That's just for safety. There's going to be people pretty much on every hole. It's going to be busy. There might be some waiting, and there's just going to be flying everywhere. So really, again, we've just done that for safety because throwing at that basket 14, it's easy to like just black ace, or there's probably going to be somebody playing the hole at the time.
Yes, it's just not safe. So hole 15, again, this is from the red tee. This is what the angle looks like. So you see the big OB pen right in front of you. So that's what to be careful of on hole 15. Hole 16. Again, another one of the new OB pens on the right here. The same one that's on hole 15. If you end up on hole 15's fairway, you're inbounds. But if you end up in that OB pen, you're out of bounds. Also, if you throw it really hard, you can end up out of bounds over the back fence of the course.
Rarely see it happen, but it can happen.
It definitely can happen. Hole 17. Again, there's basically no OB on this hole, except for over the fence to the right. If you were to throw directly right of where the tee is, you would see OB. And also, over here on the left, there's an OB pen really far to the left of this hole that you could make it into as well. I don't know if I've ever seen anyone do that one either, though.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody go on there.
So you should be okay on that one. And then finally, hole 18. Again, there's a Mando on this hole. It's not that in play, but it's more in play for the right-hand player than the one on hole 9. So it's this right-hand tree this time. So the one on hole 9 is the left-hand tree. On 18, it's the right-hand tree, and you must go to the right of it. It's very possible to miss this one if you hyzer out too early. From the red tee, you're pretty much fine. It's just from the blue tee where it's really in play. And that is all of the holes. So, we'll switch back to our main camera view and we'll see if there's any questions. Scrolling back through any questions from those holes. Yes, advice, if you go in the OB, please don't clamber over the fence to get your disc back. Please walk around, go through one of the entrances. It's not very far to an entrance at all points. Somebody is still asking about discs landing in other fairways, and I think I've answered that now. If your disc lands in another fairway, that's fine. Play from there.
Again, just if you're on the higher hole, or if your disc is in another fairway, probably let the group just kind of get through. Yeah, but yeah, just kind of work it out. It'll just be like any other kind of normal day, except it'll count for something. Yes, Stuart Lyon, we need some volunteers. It's another thing. If anybody is interested in kind of helping us get set up in the morning, I know I'm asking a lot of you, but if you could come as early as possible and give us a hand, and then run away for your tea time, that would be great. But yeah, now Stuart, we might need like a spotter all day. The Mando on 13, if you're interested.
Tony, if there is a dispute on the card, what happens? You will, if it's a dispute about whether something's in bounds or out of bounds, for example, you will play it both ways. You will say, before you play it the second way, I'm throwing a provisional shot. It's important to say that out loud. And then you will ask either me or Iain at the end to see if it's see which one to score it as. If it's a dispute about rules, if you would take a group decision on something, so if it was 3-1, you would go with the one with 3 people. If it was 2-2, you would go with the one which benefits the player. So if you can't make a decision, it's benefit to the person who it would blame. Definitely not rock, paper, scissors.
I like rock, paper, scissors. It solves everything. Do we need some portables? I thought about putting 1 or 2 up in the spot where there's a pile of wood chip right now. Is in between the basket of hole 1 and 17, just as like a warm-up putting area. If you do want to bring a portable basket, I wouldn't say no. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit mine in my car with everything that I have to bring.
I have mine with me, so that's fine.
Yeah, so we might have 1 or 2. Harry's got a MVP black hole, which is nice to put on.
Somebody asking, is the cafe the only toilet? No, there's a toilet at the Scout Hut, which will be available for us. That was covered at the start of this video, so if you've missed the start, you'll be able to go back and watch either on the Facebook page or on YouTube. But yes, we haven't mentioned filming yet, Iain. Do you want to give us a little bit of info on filming?
Well, yeah, I have just basically been talking to Ben and Nat, who I don't know if Ben's actually going to be around, but Nat is actually going to be filming. He says there's going to be 3 cameras going around. They're going to do just some general shots, some B-roll. So in the morning for your round, you might get like recorded shooting. If you do not want to be on film, please let me know at the beginning, and I will kind of be able to point Nat away from you. But again, it's all just going to be kind of fun, shooting some B-roll, getting some nice shots. You'll end up on a YouTube video. It's awesome. I love being on a YouTube video. And then in the afternoon, they're going to follow around the final card and do some post-production, and hopefully that's going to turn out really kind of cool. And it might be something that they can kind of continue, maybe some other tournaments around here.
I like it. Someone asked, is the Scout Hut for shelter from the weather? No, we don't have access to the main part of the Scout Hut, but we will have some marquees up, some gazebos. So that might be possible for a couple of people to use, if not just hide in trees and wear a coat.
Yeah, again, it's Manchester, so kind of be prepared for everything. Bring an umbrella, bring lots of towels, bring a change of shoes, bring your lunch, bring lots of socks, bring some snacks. But yeah, again, if you don't have a umbrella and you live in Manchester, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So if there's any more questions, now is your last chance to ask them, unless you want to find me or Iain personally, and we will answer them. But we just wanted to share some good news. So with all the money that we've raised from this tournament, with everyone's £10 from everyone's entry going into the tournament, we can share with everyone that we've ordered the baskets for Longford Park. So we don't have a final confirmed date for that installation yet, but we're hoping that it could be possible. This is definitely not confirmed, but it could be possible that our next tournament at the start of July may feature a day at Longford. That's as much confirmation as we can give right now, isn't it, Iain?
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from the council. So I told him, yes, we have baskets. We'd like to put them in. What do I need to do? And I still haven't heard back yet. So we can't say, yes, we're going to have a huge field of 144 players where 72 will be at Longford. The other will be at Lilford, and then on the next day you switch. So you play Longford one day, Lilford the next, or Lilford and then Longford. But again, have to wait and see if that is going to be a reality. It's what we want to do, but is it going to happen?
Fingers crossed. So, for anyone wondering where the registration is for that 2-day tournament, we're waiting for some news on Lilford so we can confirm whether we can invite 144 of you or 72. So I'm just holding at Longford. So keep your fingers crossed for that one. We will be putting out information asking for people to come help us put the baskets in when the time does come. So keep your eyes peeled to the Facebook page for that one. But yeah, looking forward to it. I've been to the course. I've seen some of the holes. It's gonna be a good time.
Epic.
So anything else? No more questions have come into the chat. I'm keen to go watch Taskmaster. So I'm good with the show ending. 18 holes at Lilford. Yes, Tony. 18 holes at Lilford. Cool. I think we're good. If you've got any questions about the tournament, feel free to send either me or Iain a message on Facebook, and we'll try and get back to you before the day. If you've got questions on the day, we'll be around. Come find us. You know what we look like. And yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you so much for everyone for dealing with the COVID restrictions and doing this online. Please send the video on demand of this players meeting to anyone who hasn't come to watch the players meeting. There's been about 25 people here, so there will be quite a few people who are have not seen this. If you think anyone needs to see it, please send it to them. Cool. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you soon.